Welcome to our monthly health education workshop brought to us by Morning Crane. So here we are today, and we are going to talk about how to take care of yourself while taking care of others. So I'm guessing that if you are tuning into this presentation, you are a caregiver of some kind, either personally or professionally. And so with caregiving comes a whole suite of interesting interactions, and we're going to dive in today into some simple tips and tricks. Halloween is coming up. Some simple things that we can do in order to take care of ourselves so that we can best take care of others. How does that sound? Here is the outline of today's presentation. So we're going to start first by tuning in and taking note of how we feel now, and then towards the very end we'll tune in again and see how we feel at the end of our workshop. And the goal for today is that you feel better at the end than you felt in the beginning. We're going to look at our priorities and see what is really important. Okay, so when we're talking about taking care of ourselves while taking care of others, our priorities become very important, and how we organize and structure our days and evenings plays a role in that as well. We're going to discuss caregiving. What is caregiving, and how can we have this energy exchange where we get to give, where we have this opportunity to help others, fill our own bucket, and have this fulfillment that we all deserve. Why self-care is important, a little bit of stating the obvious, and then finally we'll dive into the meat of the presentation, which is the self-care how-tos. How can I take care of myself while I'm taking care of others? What are some simple things that I can do, some habits and routines that I can form so that when I go to care, to give care and take care of others, that I'm really showing up as my best self? So let's just take a moment and tune in. Notice how you feel from head to toe. Maybe even close your eyes for a brief moment or two. Taking a long, slow inhale through the nose. And let's just give an open mouth exhale. Breathing out through the mouth, allowing for the thoughts of the day to settle. Try that again. Take a nice deep breath. Inhale through the nose. And as you exhale, tuning in, noticing how you feel. Just take a notice of how you feel. And one more time, deep breath, inhale, breathe up, breathe in. And this time, as you exhale, set an intention for what you would like to receive from our time together as we discuss the topic of how to take care of ourselves while taking care of others. This give and receive symbiotic relationship. So setting an intention in the very beginning of what you would like to receive and how you can best take care of yourself while taking care of others. Examining our priorities. Okay, I meant to say in the beginning to grab a pen and paper, because this is the part where I would like to take a minute of doing some self-reflection of what is truly important to you. Who are the people, places, and things in your life that is important? So grab your piece of paper and pen, and let's give about 60 seconds and write down just a brain dump. What are the important, who I should say who, what, where, when, how, why, are the important aspects of your life. Okay, ready and go. Who is important? Who and what is important to you? All right, so now you have your list of who, what, where, when is important to you. Take a look at the most important aspects of what is going on, that unique fingerprint or footprint that makes you who you are, that makes your life unique to you. So once we examine our priorities, if you feel comfortable, drop in the chat, what is your number one priority? For me, myself, health is my number one priority. Rebecca says my husband being health right after that, exactly. So it's going to be those close relationships with others as well as our relationship to our body and our health. And when they examine centennials, people who are living over 100 years, one of the key components is that they have close relationships and that they have this community and network of people. So those intimate relationships are our priorities. Our health and how we feel inside our body on a daily basis is our priority. Oh, Maureen said, my first priority is myself and my health. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Absolutely. I was going to share a personal story is about my father-in-law, my husband's father, who recently passed away. He had been sick for a long time with diabetes, and he had a cascade of health ailments. And the thing about him is that he was almost, I was telling my husband yesterday, he was almost imprisoned inside his body because things that we take for granted, like being able to sit down and stand up, he was not able to do, and he was reliant on 24-hour caregiving. He was chair-bound or bed-bound, and so even simple things like going to the bathroom, he would need help with. And part of his health issues, it wasn't like an overnight thing. It was definitely a slow decline over time. And the reason I'm bringing that up right now is because he did not make his health a priority. And he died in a way that was very painful for himself and also for his close family members. So making your health your number one priority not only helps you, but it also helps everyone around you, because we are all so interconnected and intertwined that how one person does affects the other. You've all heard that when you go onto the airplane, the flight attendant will say, put your oxygen mask on first before helping those around you. And so what is the reason for that? The reason is because I can't breathe. How can I help someone else? If you are not in a state of well-being and balance, how can you truly show up and give care and give for others? So that is illustrating the point. Put your oxygen mask on first. And as we dive deeper into the presentation, we're going to talk about some simple things that you can do to put on that oxygen mask and to help yourself on a daily basis, so that when you go to help others, what are you doing? You are showing up as your best self. Okay, it's very, very important. I can't stress this enough. And especially in our line of work as caregivers, as helpers, as healers, as parents, as spouses, taking care of yourself so that you can then help take care of those closest to you in your inner circle, those in your community, and society at large. Put that oxygen mask on first. As I would venture to say, all of us here tuning in today, if not the majority of people in our society, has some type of stress in our life. And the thing about stress is that it's a accumulation. So it's not just the one thing. It's not the disagreement with our spouse, the stepping on our kids' Legos, spilling of the coffee. It's the accumulation over time that then creates lack of health issues. So it starts with the stressor. So for example, I spill my coffee. Okay, no big deal. But then what happens? How do I respond or react to the stress? So there's the stressor, the thing that's causing a less than optimal response. There's the reaction to the stress. Now, as I react to the stress, that takes a toll on the body, the wear and tear on the body. And in our practice, we believe, and we know, we've seen it through thousands of clients, is that negative emotions, when not expressed properly, creates disease. So that reaction to the stress takes its wear and tear on the body, which then reduces our optimal health. So now our cup is a little bit less full, our cup becomes more empty, which increases our sensitivity. So I spill my coffee, I have my reaction, it takes its wear and tear on the body. I'm not as healthy, then I go and I step on a Lego and my whole world turns upside down. So it's that cascade. It's not just the one thing, it's the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So what can we do to boost our tolerance, to increase our resiliency so that, oops, I spilled my coffee. Oh, no use crying over spilled coffee. Grab a paper towel, clean it up, no big deal. So today we're going to discuss some very simple things in order to increase our resiliency, boost our tolerance for challenge, and literally stress less. Okay, here's one simple one, and that is to smile. And you know why? Because smiling literally changes the chemistry in the brain. So there's studies that show that the act of turning the corners of your mouth upwards, I know it's so silly and so simple, but smiling changes how you feel. You step on that, oh, that rock, oh, ow. Okay, I'm gonna kind of laugh about it. Oh, that was so silly. Laugh, change how you feel, change your response, change the trajectory of your day, and ultimately changing the entire trajectory of your life. As we move into self-care and self-love, it really starts with each of us as individuals. And as we take care of ourselves, then that subconsciously gives permission to others to do the same, to also follow suit and take care of themselves. And just imagine if we had a culture focused on self-care and self-love. Another very simple thing that you can do is, while getting dressed in the morning, brushing your hair, brushing your teeth, whatever it might be, putting your makeup on if you're wearing makeup that day, is to literally look into your eyes. This is what I do. And I start first by looking into my left eye, and then I will look into my right eye. And as I'm gazing into my eyes, I know it sounds kind of silly, I tell myself, I love you. I look into my eyes and I say, I love you, into the left eye and then into the right eye. And what that does is it sets the tone for the day. And it reminds our inner child, our inner being, perhaps that part of us who might not be so secure, that you are loved and you are loved. And when you have that knowing and that self-confidence, then you are equipped to make time and to take time for self-care. There's a funny saying that says, if you feel that you're too busy to meditate, then guess what? You need to meditate longer. Okay, everybody is busy, time is precious, but how can we carve out specific time to give back to ourselves, to take care, and to expand our consciousness, our sense of well-being, our sense of security. And then when we do that, then that helps not only ourselves, it also helps those who we give care to or who we are caregivers for. Do you have your calendar out? We talked about this last month with our fit tips. All of this really applies, fit tips, how to take care of yourself, taking care of others. So it's really about scheduling and making yourself a priority. So one of the things that I do personally, I'm going to share a lot of my own personal examples, is that I have something called a bujo, a bullet journal. And I keep track of my appointments on my phone, which is Outlook. So I have an Outlook calendar on my phone, which syncs with my computer calendar as well. So I'm assuming that you probably have a digital calendar of some sort that's either on your phone or on your computer. And if not, then you might have one of those written books. So what I do is I have my digital calendar and I take my appointments there. Like for example, today's class is right there. And then either on Sunday evening or Monday morning, I can go to my computer and I will print out an 8.5 by 11 sheet of the calendar for the week. So I have my calendar for the week and I include on my calendar times that I'm going to work out, times that I'm going to receive some kind of body work, massage, acupuncture, those type of things, and some time for family relationship, with our close people. When am I going to take time and nurture those important relationships? Because as we discussed in the beginning, those important relationships are part of the key to living a fulfilling, long life. So I make sure to have those booked out on my calendar. I print out the calendar each week, and then I might handwrite certain notes. I'll have a list of certain staff members that I need to get in touch with. And then as the week goes on, I will take a highlighter and highlight the things that are done. And then I have it in a 3-ring, hole punch it and put it in a 3-ring binder. So that works really well for me. And making sure to have my workout scheduled, making sure to go to bed at a reasonable time, sometime for me before 10 p.m. I like to go to bed before 10 p.m. and wake up sometime between 6 and 7 a.m. But that's just me, so that's how I make sure to get enough sleep. We'll talk about sleep as medicine. So making sure that you pencil in the time for yourself, how to take care of yourself while taking care of others, carving out time, making yourself a priority, making your health a priority, so that when you go to give care, you are showing up healthy, happy, ready for action. Because another key component to those centennials, to the people who are living past 100, is that they have some type of work where they feel fulfilled. Some type of work where they feel fulfilled. So if you are able to give back to yourself, to feel healthy, balanced, and well, then the work that you do is going to be more fulfilling. Okay? So make sure that you have your calendar, that you schedule specific times for exercise, that you schedule specific times to work on your intimate relationships, and that you schedule time to have fun as well. Okay, make sure that you're getting that time in, because time is the one thing that once it passes, there it is. I mean, perhaps there's a coil or a spiraling, but in our situation, time is linear and we don't get it back. So how you spend your time, even that phrase, spend time, like you spend money, but you can earn money back. You can spend it and earn it back. With time, there it is. So making sure that you get that on your calendar, on your schedule, perhaps trying out the bullet journal, putting it in your phone or computer, printing it out once a week, writing down notes, highlighting things as they come and go. It's very fulfilling for me. I love having something and just crossing it off my calendar. It's so fun. Okay, so here are the three keys to living a healthy life is exercise, diet, and sleep. Exercise, diet, and sleep. So what are some of the exercises that you do on a regular basis? And when we talk about diet, so here on this picture, I love this picture of berries, strawberries, making sure to eat a good balance of fruit and vegetables, getting your proteins, getting the right kind of carbohydrates rather than sugary, bready type of things, you know, things like broccoli, asparagus, those type of carbs that could really boost our energy and let us feel good. Another thing about diet, and I brought this up last month in the Fit Tips, is something called a food curfew. A food curfew, what is that, you might ask? That is that after a specific time, let's say 7 p.m., nothing passes the lips. How to take care of yourself is cutting yourself off from dessert, cutting yourself off from the fatty, fried type of foods, and really nourishing your body with whole foods, whole grains, drinking enough water. So after 7 p.m., nothing passes the lips. It does many different things in terms of the metabolism. And there was actually a study where they proved the circadian rhythms inside the body. Just a few years ago, the people who won the Nobel Prize for Medicine showed that there is a body clock, that the time of day matters, and it matters what time we put food into our mouths. So after a certain time of the day, stop eating, put the fork down, put the dessert away, and really just relax at home and be with your family and those who are most important to you. So making sure that you exercise regularly, 3 to 6 days a week, that your diet is comprised of whole foods, nutritious fruits and vegetables, the right kind of protein, not too many fats, etc. Stopping eating at a certain time, try that food curfew, and then getting the right amount of nourishing and relaxing sleep. Speaking of sleep, sleep as medicine. So maybe drop in the chat what time you went to bed last night and what time you would like to set as your goal. So I mentioned before, for me, I like to be in bed by 10 o'clock. That's just where I feel the best in the next day is to go to sleep. So, oh, Maureen says 9 p.m. That's a great time. Yeah, and especially if you are if you're working and you start work at 8 a.m., then that means you have to leave the house by 7:30. So then you must be getting up around 6 a.m., right? So that 9-10 o'clock time frame is going to be the best. So if there are things that are getting in your way for going to sleep at a reasonable time, let's take a step back and look at that. So what are the things blocking us from going to bed on time? Because Sleep to the body is like the oven to dough. If you're making a loaf of bread, we're gonna say gluten-free, low-carb bread. If you're gonna make bread, the oven is to dough like sleep is to the body. So it's very important. That's when the body heals and repairs itself. So it's very important that we get the right kind of sleep at the right time. Hillary said, I think I went to bed around 11:30 p.m., up at 7. I'd like to get to bed at 10 p.m., get that 10 p.m. sleep schedule. Exactly. So then I would ask, so what's going on between 10 and 11:30? And how can we minimize those things so that 9:30, 9:30, 9:45 slot, I'm in my pajamas, my teeth are brushed, and I'm ready to snuggle in and get that restful night's sleep so that our bodies can heal and repair itself for the previous day, as well as getting ready for the next day, for the future days. So sleep is so important. It's really how the body heals itself. There's a famous quote from Elizabeth Taylor, who had been sick many times, and she almost died several times. And they asked her, the reporter asked her, how are you keeping bouncing back? You get sick, you almost die, you keep bouncing back. And her response is that I sleep a lot. So really getting that sleep to heal and repair the body is, I can't say enough about it. It's really one of the most important things that you can do in order to take care of yourself, so that you can then show up and take care of others, so that you can live that fulfilled life that you deserve to have. The other thing about sleep, real quick, is that there's a hormone responsible for satiation. Satiation is the hunger response and how we respond to food. So when we sleep, when we get the right amount of refreshing, replenishing sleep, we are able to go through the day and resist those food temptations. You know that there's a correlation between tired and hungry. When you feel tired, you are way more likely to stuff your mouth full of foods that aren't so good for you. So getting the right amount of sleep is going to be so important. And Claudia said, what would you recommend to actually fall asleep deeply? The quality of sleep also matters, since I feel that I don't get any rest regardless of the number of hours. Okay, Claudia, so there's a few things probably going on, and I'd like to see you face to face to have this conversation. But really, there's several things. So it depends. So if you are having trouble, like you go to bed and you have trouble actually falling asleep, versus I go to sleep and I wake up in the middle of the night and I have to pee. I wake up around 2 a.m. and my mind starts going and I can't fall back asleep. It's different things, and in the 5-element system, different organs play a role. So the thing that pops in my head first is lavender oil. Lavender oil actually stimulates the melatonin, and melatonin is part of the hormone needed for good sleep. So you can take some of the lavender oil. I gave this because actually my dad was having trouble sleeping recently. And so I ordered him some of this lavender oil, and you put it on the palm of your hand, rub it together. Then you would put it on the bottom of your feet. And one simple Qigong practice for sleeping, I'm going to sit down to demonstrate. Before bed, you sit on the edge of your bed and you bring your foot towards your body. With a cupped hand, you lightly tap the bottom of your foot. Now right on towards the ball of your foot. And you're going to do both feet with a cupped hand, lightly tapping on the ball of the foot, so under the big toe before the arch, lightly tapping there. And that is the kidney 1 point. And the kidneys are like our battery pack and also helping with our sleep function. So you're gonna tap the ball of the foot about 100 times, lightly tap. Take that lavender oil on your hands and the bottom of the foot, lightly tap there. So that would be something that you could do to help yourself sleep through the night. If you find yourself waking up in the middle of the night, there is a practice called the microcosmic orbit meditation, also sometimes called the fire cycle. Now, in general, during the waking days, and how we usually teach it in class, because when we teach these classes, we want people to feel energized during the day, of course. We would normally, during the day, inhale, breathe up the back, and exhale and imagine the breath coming down the front. So you're going to make an orbit, inhale and exhale. However, if you wake up in the middle of the night, you're going to reverse that circle. So it's the reverse microcosmic orbit, also sometimes called the fire cycle. Then you're going to inhale and imagine the breath coming up the center midline. And then as you exhale, imagine the breath going down the spine and around the pelvis. Inhale up the front and exhale down the back. And you take the tongue to the roof of the mouth behind the teeth, and that connects the circuits. So inhale, feel the breath moving up the front. Exhale, and the breath moves down the back. So that practice, the reverse microcosmic orbit, would be if you fall asleep, you wake up, and your mind's going, all this, why did she say that? I should have done this, that type of conversation in your head. You're gonna say cancel. Remember this practice. Inhale up the front, exhale down the back. So making that orbit around the torso and the head, and try that a few times. And I'm really curious to see how that works for you. So if you're having trouble falling asleep, the lavender oil patting the balls of the feet, you fall asleep, you wake up, try that reverse microcosmic orbit meditation and let us know how that goes. We literally spend a third of our life asleep. So that's like kind of an analogy. So where are we sleeping in our day-to-day life, and where can we wake up more, and where can we relax into what it is that we're doing so that we can be so focused and we can give the best care, and we can also be our best selves. Oh, this is a good one. Be in nature. How can I take care of myself while taking care of others? And taking time to ground yourself outside in nature, even hugging a tree. I went to UC Santa Cruz, so there was quite a few tree huggers there. But that feeling of being outside is really part of who we are, and our human bodies that are so connected with this planet Earth. There's a technique called grounding, and you can look it up on YouTube. And that is the hypothesis that the rubber shoe has taken our connection to the earth, has removed our connection to the earth, and that there's all these nerve endings in the palm of the hands and the bottom of the feet. So it's super simple. You take your socks and shoes off and you put your feet on the earth, in the grass, next to a tree. You can put your hands on the tree, breathe in and allow for the good air to flow in. And as you breathe out the carbon dioxide, there's this symbiotic relationship between nature, between trees and humans. And that is, humans, we breathe in oxygen, we breathe out carbon dioxide, whereas trees do the reverse. So there's that relationship. And if you are stuck in the city, in the grind, in that kind of like building environment, suburbs, whatever it might be, then it is very easy to get in that whirlwind of stress and strife. So literally taking time, get your calendar out, but how can we carve out that time to take ourselves, to put our bodies in that natural setting in order to decompress and to release stress. Just being in that environment, you will feel better. Just notice that you will feel better. So being in nature, grounding yourself outside. And if you are someone that says, oh, I don't have time, I can't get in nature, well, perhaps maybe we could go to the local nursery and grab a tree or a flower, a potted plant, put it on your desk, something so that you can feel that connection with the earth and you can feel that connection with nature, because that is one of the key components to living a healthy and happy life. Who is the person who can keep you accountable? Is there someone in your life when you make goals and you commit yourself to certain new routines or new habits that can keep you accountable? You know that it is proven that when you have an accountability partner or a coach or a mentor or perhaps even a boss, that you are more likely, you are 3 to 4 times more likely to show up and do the thing. So just off the top of your head, real quick, who is a person that you can turn to keep you accountable? Having that accountability partner to help fulfill your goals and to help take care of yourself while taking care of each other. If you think about the accountability partner and the topic of today's class, how to take care of yourself while taking care of others, the accountability partner is very much interweaved in that, because perhaps the person who you're giving care to is the person who is keeping you accountable. So it's so interesting how we get to have this give and take, this receiving and transmission. Okay, so having an accountability partner. For me, it would be my spouse, my husband, Chris. We are married and we work together, and he definitely keeps me accountable. So when I say something, he makes sure that I follow through. So who's your accountability partner? And make sure that it's a person that you trust, because it is definitely something that can be vulnerable, and it is definitely something that someone who can assist you in reaching your goals. So as you give care, also ask yourself, who is giving, how are you receiving care? You give care, but how do you also receive the care? There is this interconnection between the mind and the body. Where the mind, this is a quote from Tony Robbins, where the mind goes, energy flows. And most people don't realize how powerful our minds really are. We recently watched this movie over the weekend called Lucy, and I was also listening to the Silva Method book, and they both confirmed that human beings at this point in our evolution are using less than 20% of our minds. There is such a strong connection between what we think about and what we bring about, and this connection between our health and our thought process and what's going on upstairs in our minds. And the other really fascinating and exciting thing about being a human is that we have the power to direct and focus our thoughts, to change and to redirect, to sculpt and to see what is going on. We can focus our mind and create change in our body. We can focus our minds and create change in our life. It is incredible. Claudia said, I know another say that simplifies who we are. I think, therefore I am. Yes, I think, therefore I am. And that is what is called metacognition. Metacognition is that unique, innate ability of human beings to think about what we're thinking about. We have the power to be aware of our thoughts. And when you think about that, that is so amazing. I mean, our cat, I have a cat right here. You can't really see her, but I'll show you her at the end. The cat doesn't think about what she's thinking about, but us humans, we do. And that power is what has created our whole society and everything around us. And so our ability to direct our thoughts and to focus and to refocus and to sharpen the saw, the 7 habits of highly effective people, the 7th habit is to sharpen the saw, meaning I'm constantly reforming, I'm constantly examining, I'm redoing, I'm making an effort on a daily basis to improve myself, to take care of myself, so that I can then give and take care of others. Okay, speaking of the mind-body connection, there is a simple practice called the mental screen exercise. I did share this last month, but it's so powerful. I'd like for us to share it again. So we're gonna start in a seated position with the toes forward and the knees slightly bent. Gently tucking the tail and tucking the chin. Close the eyes for a brief moment as you tune into the breath. Take a long, slow inhale through the nose. Give an open mouth exhale. Now, I want you to imagine in front of you a big screen. The screen is taller than you are and wider than your arm's length. Slightly lift your eyeballs upwards. So the eyeballs are lifted upwards and you're imagining a big screen in front of you. Then I want you to visualize a beautiful and relaxing place that you've been before. It could be the beach or a forest, a mountaintop, a place where you felt peace, ease, and relaxation, filling all the cells and tissues of the body. Just visualizing that beautiful place on your screen out in front of you. Then on your screen, I want you to visualize a specific challenge or obstacle that you're currently facing. What is one situation, person, place, or thing, a problem that we will transform into a project? Noticing who's involved, notice what's involved. Seeing the situation on the screen. With the eyeballs lifted, slightly shift your eyes to the left, about 20 degrees to the left. And I want you to visualize a simple action step that you can take in the near future towards this project. What is one simple thing that you can do in the near future towards the project in mind? Let's shift our eyes all the way to the left, looking to the corner of the left eye socket. Then visualize the desired outcome. When all things line up, notice what victory feels like. Notice what success looks like. Noticing who's involved, what's involved. Even turn up the color, allowing for the feelings and the emotions of joy, happiness, fulfillment. And then coming back to the middle. So looking up, eyes lifted slightly. Let's take ourselves back to that beautiful and relaxing place. It's a place where all is well. And in a moment, I'm going to count up from 1 to 5, and when we reach the number 5, we'll open our eyes, feeling wide awake, refreshed, feeling better than before. 1, 2, getting ready to open our eyes, coming back into our body. 3, 4, and 5, eyes open, wide awake, with more clarity and more vision, feeling better and better, knowing that the solutions are coming to us and that we have the power. That you have the power, I have the power, each one of us individually and collectively has the power to take care of ourselves, to find fulfillment, so that we can then go out there and help others. Here's the summary. How are we feeling? Did we reach our goal? Feeling better and better? I know I sure do. I'm seeing some thumbs up and some hearts. Thank you so much. So I'm so glad that you're feeling better. We got to examine our priorities and realize that our health, your health, is your number one priority. And then those close, intimate relationships are a close second. We talked about caregiving, putting our oxygen mask on first before we go to help others, making sure that we are okay, and you are okay. You have the power. We discussed why self-care is important, and then a few of those self-care how-tos, and you got it. Feeling so good. Let's look at the chat here as well. Oh, thank you, Carol. I'm so glad you're feeling better. Diane, that's awesome. Pauline, oh, yay. And Claudia, oh, thank you. Oh, my heart is fluttering. My heart is full. If you enjoyed today's health education workshop, well, guess what? We teach classes like yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, mindfulness, meditation, and those classes are kick-ass, if I could say that. They're really fun, and those are something that you can do in order to give back to yourself, to take care of yourself, because I know that you are doing an excellent job at taking care of others. So thank you so much for your time and your energy. It really means the world to us. Thank you so much for tuning in. Glad you're feeling great, and we'll see you next time.